The unreleased podcast from 2022 with comedian Andrew Schulz was eventually made available by the Nelk boys, and it was rather awkward. And it's not just that. After all the backlash that Steiny has been receiving, it could be looking like he'll be taken off the podcast, or is wanting to leave in the near future to focus on his own show called One Night with Steiny. Considering the reach the Full Send podcast gets each episode, racking in millions of views, it's probably not the best decision on Steiny's part, but we'll be looking at how true all these rumors really are. So make sure to stick around till the end for the full details. For the previous 2 weeks, Schulz and the Nelk boys have been debating whether or not to broadcast their podcast because it was so subpar.
In the beginning, it was some talking, and I think everybody was like, what is going on right now? Like, I've never seen a podcast. People should see it for what not to do on a podcast. Like, I hope that you can see it. There's a moment where I think we all just take a breath together. This is like, there's a moment, yeah, where like, it's like, so you have a watch? Cool. What did you tell time with that? Let's take a break. Happy Dad is coming out with a new flavor, Chicken McNugget. We got, you know, it's like, I was like, what is going on right now?
Nelk boy Steiny was personally wounded by Schulz's decision to go into him so harshly during the episode. Steiny, I saw Schulz's stand-up and I was really excited to interview him. And when he reacted that way, it hurt me personally because I really F with this guy. He's really coming at me. Did I do something wrong? The complete podcast was made available by the Nelk boys on Friday morning, and in many sections, Schulz criticizes Steiny for being inauthentic. And there's already a video on YouTube of Schulz just ripping into Steiny for 8 minutes, with over 1 million views in just a few days. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. This way you'll never miss out on any future celebrity videos similar to these. Once the podcast got released on Twitter by Nelk, regardless of what people are saying, it racked up high viewing figures with over 2.6 million views. The majority of people sided with Schulz on this one, which is no surprise. There were posts like, "This is why Schulz is one of the best to ever do it. He is so authentic and real. He can see right through fake people. His comedy is rooted in truly knowing people, real people, and making entertainment. Love this. Love that Andrew called Steiny out for being like he always is, fake and annoying. The great thing about Flagrant is Andrew and his friends and how they interact. They're 100% real. Steiny is annoying and thinks he's so cool. You're not, bro. LOL. Finally, someone had the balls to call out Steiny. It'll be interesting to see how all this unfolds moving forward, as most likely every future guest will see this interaction and it could affect the chemistry between Steiny and the guest. Some of you may not actually know this, but Steiny has his own channel which we mentioned at the start of the video, which is called One Night with Steiny. And to be fair, he gets a strong, consistent amount of viewing figures, around the 200,000 mark each episode. It's pretty obvious that he's playing a character, especially on his show, which a lot of people don't understand, enabling his character to work so well. Surprisingly, on TikTok, there were a lot of people defending Steiny over the Schulz situation and felt he was making a big deal out of nothing. I'm tired of people saying Steiny isn't carrying these podcasts. LMAO. Schulz wanted Kyle and Steve to ask more questions than lesser-known Steiny. Schulz seemed cocky and insecure to me. Bro, Schulz is funny and all, but I get the vibe he thinks he's way better than everyone else. It's interesting seeing everyone's different perspectives on the situation. Before we go any further into the video and look at some of the clips from the podcast, do you think Steiny should be removed from the Full Send podcast moving forward? Or is the Steiny hate unwarranted? Comment below. What caught the attention of a lot of people was midway into the interview, Andrew asked the question if they were even friends. Friends being Steiny, Kyle, and Steve, which ended up sparking some good conversations from fans.
Are you guys friends with each other?
Yeah.
Like,
Why, you
genuinely?
don't get that vibe?
Yeah. No,
Why not?
because the chemistry is weird.
Well,
There's almost none of it.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. It's just I don't get it.
What's confusing?
It's just
so I can help break it down for you.
It's like a weird thing.
This is the first time we've done a podcast.
I don't do podcasts.
No.
You're
You're an interesting one.
I stay
to me.
silent.
No,
Yeah.
but you're just an interesting. But like, do you guys do you have stories where you like bust balls? Like, they're
Yeah, well, we usually have a different guy who sits in.
Yeah.
We wanted to have Steve on this one, so
yeah,
he sat
with
in.
Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Brad too.
Yeah.
He's great. And what, Brad usually drives it or something like that?
What do you mean?
Like, is he usually driving the interview?
Why? You don't think we're doing a good job?
No offense to Steve, but I think him appearing in the podcast didn't help the matter, as he's known for hardly talking when he features. In the Trump podcast before, he was banished off YouTube. He literally didn't say one word. For instance, Schulz made a good point of Bradley Martin driving the questions, and if he featured on the episode, it would have been resolved a lot quicker. It's because they're not friends. They're only really just business partners. Steve hasn't been on the pod since Trump, and he doesn't like Steiny. Brad is normally the one putting Steiny in his place, so someone else had to do it. Their podcast is disingenuous, easy to tell. It's true, when Bradley Martin features on the podcast, him and Steiny will constantly go back and forth, and if Steiny takes things too far, Bradley will put him back in his place straight away. So in this podcast, Schulz was doing the same role, but as they don't know each other well, it became rather awkward and cringe to watch. Then, interestingly, at the end of the podcast, when it all got wrapped up, Steiny was asking members of the team and even Andrew Schulz what that was all about. What's even more hilarious is that he believed it was a setup.
What was that? This was definitely planned.
You did it yourself.
No,
Hug it out,
Schulz,
hug
what
it
did I
out.
say that was so triggered?
Did he tell me or no? Is this planned?
I thought you were fucking with me. I don't know. During the pod, there was a moment where I was like, I think this kid is fucking with me, and we can play that game.
Bro, everything I do is like a joke. You can't take it too seriously.
Even right now, you're fucking with me.
I'm not, bro.
I don't know what to do with this fucking kid. This kid makes me feel uncomfortable, bro. I don't know what it is.
This is planned. This is planned for sure. I couldn't script that, bro. I wanted to be boys, bro. I don't know
Even
why.
that is such a weird thing to say to a man, right? I want to be boys. Like, you wouldn't say that.
This is amazing.
You got a moment, bro.
Yeah, thanks. Means a lot.
One thing is for sure with what Schulz said. You can never really tell if Steiny is ever serious, which can definitely be frustrating depending on who you are. Because every time he tries to say something direct, he'll start laughing, or the tone he uses is odd when he delivers it. It's a good lesson for him moving forward on the podcast. That's if he doesn't decide to call it a day due to the PTSD, so he can focus on his own show. As he does always say, the way he deals with confrontation like that is locking himself in his room for a few days with the blinds closed. I think after this podcast, maybe it'll be a few more days because of all the backlash he's been receiving. After doing some research, his father is a well-connected lawyer named Harvey Steinberg, who has been the attorney for sports figures over the years. He also has photos on his Instagram with other Nelk members at UFC events like Steve Will Dalt and even Dana White. It for sure helped him to weave his way into Nelk. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.